This video is on DDOS attacks. DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service Attack. So essentially what that is a denial of service attack that uses either a botnet or just a group of machines collectively attacking a resource. So a denial of service attack is an attack on the availability of a resource. So essentially what they want to do is they want to shut down a server, block an internet, basically just prevent legitimate users from getting access to the resource. It's very difficult to defend against. From a server side, the question is who is a legitimate user? We have to decide which traffic is legitimate traffic requesting the resource, actually wants to use it versus traffic that is just filling the resource and not attempting to actually access information, just attempting to shut it down. So, for example, in a reflected DNS attack, we will use a recursive DNS server, and attacker is going to send a 64-byte request and modify the user datagram protocol header with the source IP 192.168.0.2, which is the victim's IP address. So their 64-byte request turns into a 512-byte response, which this server believes it is sending to the person that requested it, but it's actually sending it to the victim because of the spoofed UDP header. That is a amplification factor of 8 times, so that's just one machine doing that against one server. For example, if we have a botnet of 10 machines, we could have 10 attackers, each targeting 3 recursive DNS servers, and produce a very large attack against the victim. It could be a server, the victim could be a single computer. Essentially, they just want to prevent access to these resources. So some defenses against it, you could either, you can use DNS protection software services such as Prolexic, that's a pretty big one. You can configure your recursive DNS servers if you have them to limit the amount of responses that an individual can make. So that would prevent this DNS server from sending hundreds of 512-byte responses to the victim. It would just send 1 or 2, timeout, and wait 30 seconds before sending any more, which would limit your server from being part of this problem. So essentially, when we look at DNS attacks, we're looking at a pipeline. So your pipeline here could have any amount of bandwidth for your network, and essentially what the attackers want to do is they want to fill up this pipeline so no legitimate users can use it. So there's various different ways. So the example we use is the reflected DNS attack. That one is pretty effective just because of the amplification factor. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort on the attacker's end to produce a very large attack on the victim's end. Other attacks are ping attacks, using ICMP, and a few others.